Hello world, Jacob here, and in this video I wanted to show you a little tournament I held a few weeks ago as I was asked to create a business dashboard, a professional dashboard for some use case. And I'm also going to show you how I approach vibe coding, or vibe PMing as I like to call it, and a little bit of my workflow. And then I'll show you 4 different versions of the same dashboard that were created by different tools and different models. And I think you'll see the difference in the quality of who's doing the best. There was one that really surprised me. I did not expect so many issues with that particular model. Let's jump into it. So one of the things I approach vibe coding, I used to just jump into it, ask the AI do things, and without real plans. As things evolved, I said, awesome, let's add more and more and more. And that was cool. But if you ever vibe coded, you know what that means. A lot of time, a lot of tokens, a lot of issues. You waste more time on trying to fix broken things that, you build on top. That's one of the challenges. I started to adopt a different approach, PRD, product requirement doc. I'm not a developer, but I think just the concept, such to grab some concept from development can really help. I build this PRD, and by the way, let me kind of show you how you can see a formatted version of this. I may need to redact some of the information because obviously it may contain some confidential information, but you can see it's really comprehensive information about the requirements, and I build it using a lot of conversations with the business owners and meeting notes, and put them in a single folder, and then talking to I used several tools, but again, that was around the time where I was playing with AntiGravity. So I used it to really help me to build what you see in front of you. And obviously, because I'm working in a company that we have brand guidelines, so I wanted to make sure that we are following our brand guidelines. So I had this, research done by the AI about what are the requirements, the color codes, the fonts, the spacing. And later, obviously, because we are building this on something called Google App Scripts. If you're not familiar, it's pretty cool. I've not used this in the past, but apparently if you go to scripts.google.com, you will see this. And there's a lot of functionality in this tool that, one, you can create a lot of extension and scripts for your workspace solutions. So you can create project here. Once you create a project, you can add HTML. And that's another cool thing, that for companies that use Google Workspace internally, you can actually host applications here that can be accessible to members in your company. It's a JavaScript hosting environment that can host Java-based web servers. You can build really cool things here. So that's Google App Scripts. Check it out. It's really powerful. For what we're going to see today, I asked Cursor with GPT-5.1. I asked Gemini 3, which used Gemini 3 Pro Preview at the time. I asked Claude Code with Opus, and Google AntiGravity using Gemini 3 Pro. So I had 3 Gemini Pro, and you'll see the difference, by the way. It was quite remarkable. I asked all of them to read the architecture document, the PRD, the infrastructure, and if I'll go back quickly, you'll see there was also a UI specification doc, which I asked the AI to write the specification as for a developer, a human developer that will follow this. So I gave him everything. The leveling the playing fields, they all had access to the same requirement, the same information, and the same design document. And I just asked them to build this. Creating this PRD and specification and the research and the architecture, and that took few hours. Building dashboards that you're going to see, it took an average about 20, even less minutes per deployment. The more you spend on planning and designing, the better chance you have to spend less time after troubleshooting and debugging and trying to make this work. So just recommendation for those of you who are looking into improve their vibe coding or vibe PMing activities. So let's just jump into it. So you can see let's start with GPT-5.1, and let's see what he built. Redirecting me. And there we go. So this is the dashboard. And obviously it asked me select the geo. Everything you see, it's anonymized. It's not real data. So hopefully my job is safe. And you can see if I'll go, for example, and select, and here you have it. So you can see the products dashboard. It's nice. It's working. And again, you can see this was done by Cursor. And if I hover here, by GPT-5.1, and not bad, right? So it looks good. The partners level. So here I ask him to show distribution on the left side. If you're familiar with ecosystem, there's distributors and the related partner resellers that are aligned to them. So you can see the distribution here side by side. Not bad. It works. And here, for example, I want to show a real hierarchy level of the individual distribution and all the resellers that work with it. So we can see an example of the distribution and the opportunities associated. It's pretty cool. And lastly, there was the opportunity where you can search for it. For example, GA1B, which is the first one showing. No, it's not working. So it did a good job. Not perfect, but not bad at all. And let's see if it actually can filter. Let's see the other filters, but you can see it's not perfect. The dashboards, the filters are kind of broken. So it was one shot. I gave them one shot to make sure it's work. Some of them required a little bit of nudge to really bring up the dashboard, but eventually they all did. And if I'll select product one, let's see. Yeah, it works, the filter. If I select, let's say direct business, it's applying. I can't verify if it's true. And if I say I want to see Q2 only, and it's doing filtering, and it's quite fast, by the way, so not bad at all. So that was Cursor with GPT-5.1. Let's move into the next one. And that was Gemini 3 on Gemini CLI. And I'll be honest with you, this one really surprised me and disappointed me in a way. It took a long time, almost an hour of work to bring this to a working state with Gemini. I have no idea why. I was expecting it to win, but it did not. Gemini CLI is a challenge. I really trying to give him chance every time, but it always disappoints me. It messes up my code. It leaves placeholder code. It truncates codes during refactoring, which really breaks application. And at that stage, I just like drop everything and bring Claude Code to help me and fix everything. But you can see at the end of the day, it did bring up a UI. It's not still not working. You can see the filters here are not, and the product, okay, product one is okay, but it's not it. You know, you can see some work. And let's see if the partners side by side. Yeah, it looks good. And let's see if the hierarchy is working. And unknown distributor, I don't know why it's that. This should not be here. This is not a partner name. This is a route. So it also looks like it's parsing the data incorrectly. And opportunity search, let's see if it works. Let's try to do JGNY. Let's see, there was one at the bottom. Yeah, so at least this one works. If you remember at Cursor, it did not work. So it's okay. But like I said, it really took a long time to make this work. It was so frustrating. I was like yelling at my laptop at the hotel. I was doing it while I was traveling. Next, Opus, Claude Code. And let's see what we got. So first of all, I like that. It immediately as a login, it asks you select your geography. So I like that already. And I clicked and I got that. So you see on the right, it says which geo you on. And you can see the charts are all nice and the legends are right and everything is good. The region, you can go into a subsection and sub-region within, and you can see it's doing it. You can select all quarters or only for example, a specific one. And everything is responsive. And the partners, if I load this side by side, you see it looks good. And hierarchy, showing the distributors and the resellers beneath. And you can see it works well. And the last was to search. And let's see if it's going to load. And I'll do the same thing. I'll do T552. Let's see. And let's see if it works. Yes, search works. It almost needed no tweaking during deployment. So from my perspective, that was the winning dashboard, which I build upon. And it's completely different, by the way. This was version 1. And since then, the dashboard has evolved. I discovered a lot more visualizations that you can do. There are 20-something built-in Google app scripts that use from Sheets, visualizations, graphs. You can use them, and also you can import some external visualization. It's quite amazing. And again, highly recommend to explore hosting small applications for your company, for your corporate, for your enterprise on Google App Scripts, because it's really powerful and really accessible and really easy. You don't need the servers, you don't need anything. You just deploy it on App Script. And last but not least was Gemini 3 on Google AntiGravity. Here I regained my trust with Gemini 3 Pro. I think it's something just wrong with the harness and the entire Gemini CLI. Something is just not right there. It stresses me out every time I do Gemini CLI. I don't know why. I love Gemini, but Gemini CLI is so far away from Claude Code, it's not even funny. As you can see, AntiGravity, Gemini 3 and AntiGravity did a good job. You can see the UI is clean, the filters are here, and the visualization looks consistent. The legends are showing up. And the dashboard's on the bottom. Everything looks good and loads nicely. And if I go into the partner, you can see again distribution and their top resellers side by side, and everything looks good. And the hierarchy of the distribution and the related resellers and partners is showing up here. Everything looks good. It actually loaded a lot. And the opportunity, let's do the same thing. It was, I think, T522. So let's try search for that. T522. That was one of the opportunities. It doesn't work. So you know what? It's almost second best. Filtering. Let's see if the filter works here. I'll do France, for example, and try to reduce it. So here it's not working. Oh, actually there was movement. So it filtered down. And if I'll move to another, I think it carries over the filter. So not bad. Not bad at all. As I mentioned, from my perspective, when I built this, the first one was Opus 4.5, did an excellent job, really quick, almost flawless. There was no issue, and it opted for the dark mode. Everything else, I think Gemini 3 was the only one, Gemini CLI also the only one that opted for dark mode. That's what I want to show you. So my main point that I want you to take away is if you're approaching a project at work, highly recommend to spend time on planning. Don't jump into just vibe coding. It's not a good approach. I learned it the hard way. I spent hours and nights, tokens and money on just struggling with debugging issues that I vibe coded, where if you plan, you'll see dramatic differences in the results. And this is also talks about the employee of the future. I'm not a developer. This is what many companies, what I'm doing here is what a lot of companies are expecting the employee of the future to do. At least the smart ones, where they don't want to replace you with AI. They want to enable business employees, non-technical, to be able to leverage AI to build things like this. Hopefully you found it insightful. Like always, thank you very much for watching. Cheers.